So far away, Lucas, tough question. Favourite companion in the Mass Effect series?
Oh, no, Karl, you can't do that to me. No, that's not fair.
Okay, we'll discuss it later. Mass Effect is a series defined by its characters, many of which you, the player, have the ability to befriend and or have sex with. Like Thane Krios, a character who was designed specifically to be irresistible to women by a bunch of men who genuinely had to be told that women, for the most part, don't want to have sex with a fish man.
I mean, Karl, you might not want to have sex with a fish man, but some people might, and there's a lot of different alien races that you can have relations with in Mass Effect.
Yeah, by relation, I mean you can just befriend a lot of the people and characters that you meet in the Mass Effect universe, and the characters that you can befriend and romance are as eclectic as a bulletproof birdman with a robot eye to a blue-skinned psionic lesbian. There is something for everyone there, or at least there was with the release of Mass Effect 2, because in Mass Effect 1, there's limited romance options for both male and female Shepard. And while some characters can be romanced by both, I think it's Kaidan Alenko and Liara T'Soni, there are exclusively female romance options and exclusively male romance options, and the former is something that they want to expand upon for Mass Effect 2. The problem was that most of the art team was male and they had no fucking idea what women wanted.
Yeah, and we will, just point out as well, Karl, that you don't actually have to, have any sexual relationship with any of the characters at all. It is your choice.
Yes, although the word choice is it should be written in big air quotes there, because I'm not sure about you, Lucas, but I always play the Mass Effect series when I replay it as FemShep all the way. I'm playing fucking Renegade FemShep all the fucking way. But when I play Renegade, I'm always nice to my crew, and the problem is, this is a BioWare game, being nice to your crew means that your crew thinks you want to have sex with them.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that felt very much like, though, playing as a woman. It's like, oh, I'm just being nice to all the men of my crew, and they all think I want to have sex with them. It's like, no, I'm just being nice.
Yeah, I was literally experiencing this not long ago, where just having a casual, friendly conversation with Garrus, and then he just throws a line out there. It's like, Garrus, whoa.
So, Garrus, we're friends. And I want to give props to the Mass Effect series for inadvertently showing what it's like to be a woman. Just showing the most base amount of common decency towards a man. It's like, well, she clearly wants to have sex. It's like, no, Garrus, I don't. We're bros. I respect your abilities with a sniper rifle, not your cocksmanship. Calm down. Fuck. That game, that happened to me. It took me so by surprise the first time I played Mass Effect. Because I think the first time I played Mass Effect, I did what everyone did, and I just played as default male Shepard. And I was nice to everybody, and then at the end of the game, before the final mission, just Kaidan came and had sex with my character. I'm like, what? I was just being nice to him, but okay, I guess this is happening now. It's just I picked more positive options when I was conversing with him than Liara. So that's the person the game picked. And do you have any experiences like that playing Mass Effect?
Not to the point where they actively slept with me, but yeah, the amount of times where I just thought we were having a normal conversation, it turns out, I'm accidentally romancing everybody aboard my ship all at once.
And then it starts an argument. And speaking of Mass Effect 2, that brings us to a chief complaint a lot of women had about the first Mass Effect game, and that is that the romance options are very obviously skewed towards male players. Because I think male and female Shepards have the same number of romance options, and while, yes, Liara can be romanced by either a male or a female Shepard, female players are like, well, it's very obvious this character was designed by a man for male players, because Liara, the character, demonstrates a lot of the traits that men find attractive. Like, she's curvaceous and very petite, that sort of thing. It's like, where's the things for women? Like, where are our hot, fuckable aliens? We're feeling kind of left out. And you know what? Where were those women's hot, fuckable aliens? Enter Thane Krios.
Okay, Karl, so you mentioned that just, all of the art team are just, males, basically? So
yeah,
they're making, something for females, but none of them were female.
Yeah, they only had a couple of women working in the office, and they used them as a sounding board of sorts when designing Thane Krios, who underwent one of the most dramatic transformations from conception to the final product we got to see in Mass Effect 2. Because, the men in the office, they had no idea what kind of alien women would want to fuck. And their initial concept for Thane was that he was an assassin, so that bit carried over, but they thought of him as a impossibly perfect mannequin man that was just cut to all balls with a massive red scar on his face. And Lucas, you have a copy of the original article in front of you now, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Just scroll down a bit until you see the early concept art of Thane, and just give me your thoughts.
Oh dear fucking god.
It looks awful, doesn't it?
Oh, that looks atrocious.
And folks at home, and especially the women, look at this design. This is the design a bunch of men thought, yeah, women are going to fucking love this. This is so cool. And the art department were quoted as saying, yeah, the design looks so badass, which is the first fucking red flag right there. It's like, if you think it looks badass is one thing, but badass doesn't translate to hot and attractive. And according to people working on the game, when they first showed that concept art to women in their office, they immediately went, what the fuck is that? I hate it. It's so, and I quote, creepy. I don't like it. And the men were baffled. They couldn't understand. But he looked so cool and badass.
Oh god, and he has just those weird, creepy eyes.
Yeah, and that's because of a part of the initial design brief, where they asked some women, like, what do you like? And they mentioned the actor Jude Law, a very attractive man. And they went, oh, so women want like a impossibly perfect man with the most piercing eyes ever. And they took that brief and tried to create, to paraphrase them, an impossibly perfect mannequin man, which is a terrible fucking idea because people don't generally like perfection. There's something known as like the uncanny valley, where if things look too perfect, they just don't look natural.
So where did they go after creepy mannequin, like starey-eye man?
Red face man. Well, they shifted gears somewhat and instead decided to base the look of Thane on a cross between a fish and a bird of paradise. And they had the idea to give him feathers. And the idea was that he would constantly preen himself and be very proud of these feathers. So that was like, what the scar on his face transformed into. And again, when they presented this idea to women in the office, they were, again, really annoyed. It's like, one, that's not attractive, and two, that's kind of unfair. So women get to romance a fucking fish man, and you get to romance a literal genetically perfect woman. Because like one of the male exclusive romance options is Miranda, who is a literal genetically perfect woman. It's like, that feels a bit unfair, doesn't it? And then even with characters like Liara, who as mentioned can be romanced by a male or a female Shepard, women in the office rightfully pointed out, like she was very clearly designed with like, the male gaze in mind, with like qualities that men tend to find attractive, not necessarily women. I'm not saying that women don't find like, big slamming alien asses attractive, it's just it's not the first thing they tend to look for when speaking generally about women. And you can see this sort of thing all the time, like in the realm of video games. So an example that springs to mind for me is the game Metal Gear Solid 2, which features Raiden as the main playable character with a brief playable section by Solid Snake at the beginning of that game. And for people who don't know, Raiden was put into the game explicitly so that the series would appeal more to female players, and his design was informed by extensive interviews with female players about what they didn't like about Solid Snake. And it's a similar thing with like the early design of Thane. It's like, oh, he looks so badass, he's so cool, he's so grizzled. Like you could use all those things to describe Solid Snake, but when they showed that character design to women, and they were like, well, he's too gruff, he's too old. And that's what kind of character would you like to play? What kind of character would you want to see on the front of the game? And they said, well, someone who looks more androgynous, someone who looks cleaner, younger. And that's how they come up with Raiden. And that's like, speaking generally, I'm not speaking for all women here, but generally, it's been shown that women prefer more androgynous men than they do stereotypically masculine men.
Yeah, like I've got quite a few female friends, and a lot of their favourite characters are all more androgynous when talking about males. Characters like Dante and Link.
Yeah, like Dante often gets brought up as a character like a lot of women like the design, especially Devil May Cry 3 Dante. On questionnaires asking women what features they find attractive in a man, or what men they find attractive, features that would be considered androgynous tend to win out. Do you know what my favourite part about this is, Lucas?
Go on.
It is that every time I mention it, a man will tell me that I'm wrong. Every single time.
Is there ever a woman that tells you that that's wrong?
No. They either agree with me or say, or give me an example of a man that they find attractive. And then we have a conversation about it, because I'm secure in my sexuality and I'm not a weird fucking knobhead on the internet who sees it as an affront to my own masculinity.
Yeah, you're allowed to admit that men are hot. Just clarifying for all insecure men out there.
And bringing it back to Mass Effect 2, when women in the office revealed that they didn't want to have sex with a fishman, Thane underwent a number of redesigns again until we got a design approaching what people would recognise he designed from the games today.
Okay, so, like, from that point, is there any other radical changes that got made to the design?
Not so much radical as just small ones that are really funny when you realise that men didn't realise that women find those things attractive. Like, for example, they spent a long time working on the eyes of Thane. Because originally I said he was like inspired by like a lizard or a bird, and birds tend to have like, small piercing eyes, which women didn't like, so they made Thane's eyes bigger. And they gave him like larger, softer, very kissable lips, I might add. It's like Thane, like you look at him, like you say, like Thane, your lips are fucking immaculate.
They really are, yeah.
Yeah, so they worked on features like that to make them like more in line with what the women in the office said they found attractive. And they spent a lot of time making sure his face could show a lot of emotion, so that he could look more soulful and brooding, as opposed to impossibly chiseled and just scowling in every fucking scene. Probably the biggest change was Thane's coat. Which they initially did not have him wearing. But when he wasn't wearing the Thane coat, like, he just looked like he was wearing a jumpsuit and it wasn't attractive. Like, no one liked it. But the moment we put him in that coat, he looked like he stepped off a catwalk, and women really liked that. And after they settled on his costume, they started working on his posture, because as an assassin, a lot of early artwork showed him being like, sneaky, hunched over, just scuttling around, that sort of thing. And oddly enough, women don't like men like that. And they instead started drawing him with a more confident posture. And the moment they started doing that, women were like, this character's great, like, we want to know more. It's just really funny to me that these men didn't realise that women liked confident, stylish, attractive men who were able to convincingly show emotion. Who'd have fucking thunk it, eh, Lucas? Who'd have thunk it?
Karl, it baffles me to this day that so many men don't realise women like confidence.
Yeah, it is a source of endless amusement for both of us, and it's something we've talked about privately and on the podcast and on our streams, because a question we've been asked a lot, we're not making this up, Lucas can confirm, we often get asked, how do you talk to women? By, I'm presuming, men in our chat. And Lucas, what is the answer we always give?
Just walk up to them and say hello.
And what do you do if the woman's not interested?
You leave them alone.
Yeah, and how do you tell a woman's not interested if she doesn't say anything?
I mean, just generally body language.
Yeah, which is like, a basic skill I thought everybody had, because everybody can tell what someone's body, or at least I thought it'd be easy to tell from someone's body language they're not interested. And every time we say that, someone will go, but what about when? It's like, there's no but what about. There's no what about. It's like, just say hello, and if the woman's not interested, fucking go away. It's not hard.
And it's often phrased to us in a way, and I'm not picking out a specific question, but the amount of times where it feels like it's coming across of like, what chat up line do I need to say, or what game do I need to play with women?
Yeah, it's often framed as a way of like, is there a trick to getting women to talk to you? It's like, no, human interaction is not a game.
Yeah.
And if it was, it's not a game that you'd want to min-max the shit out of. And then one of the things I've experienced personally is because I'm like quite tall. I'm 6'2" and 3/4, so I say I'm 6'3". Do you know why, Lucas? Because guys who are 5'10" can say they're 6 foot tall. And I've made that joke in person and legit had someone give me shit for it. Of like, oh, you're lying then, because you're saying you're 6 foot and you're 2 inches. No, I have to do that. Why? Because women won't date someone who's under 6 foot tall. So maybe it's that they won't date someone who's just an arsehole about their height.
To anyone that doesn't know, I'm 5'7", and I really could not care less whether I was 5'7" or not.
Yeah. And something I've witnessed happen multiple times is this conversation coming up at a house party where men and women are present, a woman in the room saying, I don't really care how tall a guy is, as long as he's confident and doesn't make a big deal out of it, to which a short guy in the room will respond, well, I've been turned down because I'm not 6 foot tall. So you're making a big deal out of it. That's the literal thing we just said. If your immediate reaction to I don't care how tall a guy is as long as he doesn't make a big deal out of it is to make a big deal out of it, you're the exact problem they're talking about.
I just want to mention, please don't be that guy that's like, oh, well, I don't let my girlfriend wear high heels because then she's taller than me.
Yeah, small dick energy personified in just that just statement right there. And it goes back to what we said, like, for the most part, women and men like people who are confident.
Mm-hmm.
Telling someone not to wear an item of clothing because you'll feel insecure is the exact opposite of confidence and is so unattractive a quality to have. Yeah. And so many people do it and then blame the other person for it. And it's great. I love it. I love it so much because it happens. And I guarantee you right now, with someone typing out an angry message of try being my height, no one wants to date you. And because maybe the fact you're writing out messages like that on a fucking comment section of a YouTube video is part of the reason women don't want to date you.